So this week I've been getting my dungeon crawling on with Dragon's Crown. For those of you who don't know, it's an old school, side-scrolling beat-em-up where you play a bunch of characters and you go through dungeons and you kill orcs and skeletons and you get fat loots. But is it any good? Well, here's my opinion. The story of Dragon's Crown is about a group of plucky young adventurers traveling through a bunch of dungeons to find the Dragon's Crown and restore peace throughout the land. You pick a character from a handful of classic fantasy archetypes, fill out your party with 3 real people or AI-controlled partners, and then jump into a hostile area where you beat the crap out of anything that stands in your way. Now, all of this might sound pretty generic to you, but that's because it's supposed to be. This game walks that very fine line between homage and uninspired crap, but I'm happy to report that the game really pulls off the homage side of things and not the uninspired crap. The game tries very hard to feel like it's a spiritual successor to all those great beat-em-up arcade games like Golden Axe or, my favorite, The Simpsons game, except with beautiful hand-drawn artwork. Speaking of the art style, this game has generated quite a little bit of controversy over its overly generous representation of some of the female characters' body parts. And while I don't really understand why this is the game that finally sparked the debate about, giant boobs in video games, because there are plenty of other games out there like Dead or Alive or Soul Calibur and stuff like that, I do, however, see why some people might be turned off by some of the art style choices. Now, I'd like to take a minute to talk to you about the representation of women in video games. Oh, okay, I'm so... Oh my... What? I don't even understand. That's just a run-on sentence for like a paragraph. Now that's just right... Okay, nice and fine, you know what? No, I won't do it, okay? I'm sorry, god damn it. In terms of the gameplay, I would say that this is definitely a satisfying beat-em-up. There is a very nice variety in the characters that you can play as, and the controls are pretty simple but still fun. You've got your light attacks and you got your strong attacks and character-specific super moves that you unlock by progressing through the game and all that good stuff. There's also a bunch of different areas that you find in and quite a lot of replay value in going back to those areas. Within many of the dungeons that you fight in, there are branching paths that you can go on so you can revisit and try the place you didn't go, and each dungeon has different little secret nooks and crannies that you can unlock for more fat loots. In terms of the story, it's not super in-depth. There's not a whole lot of dialogue, and it's mostly just a narrator saying, "Now is the time where you go to this area." But it's pretty good at keeping you rolling and always knowing where you need to go next. Thankfully, you don't have to fight through the game alone either. There's AI partners that you can get to fight with you. Whenever you're running around a dungeon, you might find a pile of bones, and you can take that back to the monastery and resurrect that person, and you got a new AI partner. And once you reach a certain point in the game, you unlock the online feature so you can have real people join you in the battles. Overall, it's hard for me to find any real fault with the game. The only one that really comes to mind is that in some of the battles it gets kind of hectic, there's a lot of stuff exploding on the screen, and you kind of lose your character sometimes. I'm like, where's my dwarf? I don't know where I am. Overall, I have to say, Dragon's Crown is a really solid game. It hits like everything on my checklist of what I want from a beat-em-up. Now, the price might be an issue for some people because it's like $40. It's not quite like 60, but it's still kind of high. And we've gotten used to paying only like $10 on Xbox Live or PSN for games like this that are uninspired beat-em-up. But this game is actually really fun. It's inspired by a lot of things. It's got some really cool art style, controversial at points, but it's all hand-drawn and beautiful. And I think if you got this game, you would enjoy it. Hey, kid!
Who? Me?
What are you doing sitting around when you could be liking and favoriting this video and also sharing it on all your social networking crap that you do?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I could do that. I just didn't find it all that entertaining, so I was just gonna, whatever.
Oh! Okay. Well then, never mind.
Yeah, you could probably leave now.
I don't have anywhere else to go.